All right. I think we're going to be live here. I'm going to double check on the YouTube machine quick. Tuesday, February 3rd of 2025. Looking at the JV Takes YouTube pan. All right, we're live. God, we are just crushing it numbers-wise, too. 6 people watching already. We are red hot. Haven't been on the YouTube page, and God, it's been a minute here. Has it been about a month? Maybe not quite. I think the last time we went live here, the JV Takes up to 10 people. We were just blowing it away. Went live 4 months ago. Kyle hasn't been on the YouTube page in like 11 months, which is sad. But thing is, when you got sheep to take care of, you got kids, you got goats, the sheep and goats, they always come first. So, all right, agenda for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody else, we have our Section 1 girls wrestling preview tonight. I'll have a couple other random notes we're going to get to. We've got our buddy Alex Vandenhouten of the Post Bulletin, who's likely going to call in here at some point and chat high-level girls stuff with us. We'll maybe catch him in 10 or 15 minutes like that, but we'll talk about his preview that he's going to be coming out in the Post Bulletin. We'll maybe take some random listener questions and whatnot. You guys are welcome to fire those in the comments. If you have my phone number, you can shoot me a text. If you don't have my phone number, I'm not going to put it on the air. So that is kind of that. We'll start here first and foremost. Huge thank you to all of our sponsors. You'll see the logo here down in the corner right here. Culver's. This is the Culver's cam here. Our good friends, Culver's of Rochester, the North Culver's, the South Culver's, doesn't matter. They're both phenomenal. Stop in, get a Butterburger, concrete mixer on your way to the Civic Center on Friday and Saturday. Lodemeier's Incorporated of Goodhue, your local grain and equipment dealer. They've got Toro lawnmowers, all sorts of different equipment, and they are big-time wrestling supporters. Big movers in the community of Goodhue, Red Wing, Zumbrota area, Goodhue County, and all the way around there. So thank you to our friends at Lodemeier's Incorporated of Goodhue. Heman Tree Service, also in the same area, Dylan and Riley. They will take care of the dangerous jobs. Do not risk your life trying to take down a tree. Risk their lives, okay? They are the ones that are supposedly trained to do it. So, yeah. Heman Tree Service. Follow their Facebook page as well. And while you're on Facebook, you can follow Gorilla Wrestling Club, GWC. Wonderful to have Gorilla Wrestling Club in the chat tonight. I feel like there's a pretty good chance that Gorilla Wrestling Club is hosting youth practice tonight. I know they have their high school, middle school, high school age, I believe, on Sunday nights in the RCTC wrestling room. I think they do youth one or a couple nights. I think out of season they have girl-specific practices. So they've got a few different things going on. Send Cody Buchanan a message on Facebook or Twitter. Send him a text message and see how your wrestling career can hop to another level. Thank you to our friends at The Clash. The Clash is going to be held, I don't know what weekend it is next year, but I know if you have a team, if you're a parent of a wrestler, tap a coach on the shoulder and say, hey, do you think we're ready for The Clash next year? Maybe, potentially. Or if you're a coach and you're curious. I got to turn my heater off there. I would reach out to a Clash board member. It's a great tournament, local, very smooth, good venue, lacrosse, awesome area for the Clash, and then good competition. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of, we're not ready for the Clash. Like, our team isn't quite there. You know, we're a 15-8 type of team right now. We're a little bit over 500. The way that format is designed, you are guaranteed to basically get 3, probably 4, maybe 5, probably closer to the 3 or 4. But, like, you're going to get competition that your team is meant to wrestle. Even if you go 1-2 on the first day, you get 6th or you get 7th or whatever, day 2, the format's going to work out well for you. You're going to get competitive matches. So I end my rant. I once again call on Wisconsin and Iowa teams to join the Clash at a higher rate next year. So that is what I've got as far as sponsors for tonight. A couple other random notes here before we hop into the girls' preview. Rochester Century. I have to give a huge congratulations to my Rochester Century squad. As chat's starting to line up. Big play. Good evening, big play. Flusher Fixer. How are you, Flusher Fixer? Is Ankle Rider still alive? So, yes, last year we did the girls section preview. Alex and I, we had Ankle Rider call in, and he was very upset. He was very frustrated that girls wrestling still had 4 sections and was not yet at 8 sections. We get it. We hear you, Ankle Rider, and he made it happen. He got 8 section tournaments. So Alex and I will touch on that. But as I was saying, Rochester Century, they won the first ever outright Big 9 title by a Rochester school last week when they wrapped up their conference schedule. From what I have been told, Rochester John Marshall once tied for the Big 9 title, but this is the first ever outright Big 9 title for a Rochester school. And you're maybe thinking, oh, Rochester Mayo, they went to state a couple years ago. Yeah, but Albert Lee was in Double A. That was part of the reason they were able to navigate their way through AAA that year. And Albert Lee, I believe, still won the conference duel against Rochester Mayo. So Rochester Mayo went to state, but they didn't actually win the Big 9. So long-winded way of saying it is still the year of the Panther, and I am still flying the Rochester Century flag and Pine Island. Minnesota Gophers. Sky Umar, row the boat, go Gophers. They beat Iowa for the first time since 2014. That was pretty sweet. Won a bunch of matches in the middleweights where they were underdogs, maybe not healthy underdogs, but they were slight underdogs at some point. They looked awesome. I've honestly not had that much fun watching a Gopher duel in many moons. Many, many moons. I still got my Patrick Kennedy hat on, though. PK. One of us. Gophers, Rochester Century. Last note I'm going to hit on before we get into the girls section tournament. This is about the forum. And I'm going to see if I can screen share here for a second. Make my face a little bit smaller. And put me maybe over here. This is kind of cool. You guys are watching. This is what it looks like in real life here. We'll see if you can. Oh, yeah. We're looking at the forum page. Boom. Look at that. My own producer. No Kyle tonight, sadly. He would love this stuff. Topic here on the forum. Push the pace, which is a great username and also something that wrestlers should be doing. You should be pushing the pace constantly, not just physically establish yourself, but also mentally grab that edge over your opponent. He said, anyone else feel like the current bad mustache look is worse than the mullet trend a few years back? Some are so bad, they should be deducted a team point. I don't agree with that whatsoever. Very, very, very bad take. The forum is a great place. US of A is a great place where we can all say our thoughts, but thoughts like this, I think he should be losing a team point for suggesting we need less mustaches in wrestling. I think we need more mustaches in wrestling. You walk into a room and you see a guy with a mustache, you should probably feel a little bit left out because that guy knows something you don't know. Another good point here. Better or worse than the cutoff sweatpants? Cutoff sweatpants trend, I am out on that one. No cutoff sweatpants. The polo, sure. You can wear the polo while you're warming up, but you got to be a certain level of talented, in my opinion. Like, you got to be at least having gone to state before is kind of my barometer for whether or not you should be wearing mustaches here. So, all right, we got Alex calling in here. Let's get Alex on the line. We'll get his thoughts on some of the big storylines here in the section tournament. Good evening, Alex. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, Logan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Did you check out the live stream already? By the way, we are live. Can you see my mustache?
I have not checked out the live stream. I'll hop on right now.
Yeah.
I'll see.
I was just
You're growing out a mustache? Is it real or what?
it is for real. Absolutely. It's a nice little caterpillar, and somebody had posted on the forum that they think the mustache trend needs to go, they said, and I just don't agree. I think mustaches are a postseason thing. It's an identity thing. I think we need to lean into mustaches, collectively as a sport of wrestling.
You know, I'm kind of with whoever said mustaches need to die, to be honest with you. For one, I think there's a lot of real rough ones out there. And I would say yours looks pretty good, actually, because I'm trying to think the last time I saw you.
Uh-huh.
When was the last time I saw you?
Well,
I'm
it's
trying to
been
think.
it's been too long.
Yeah, it's been too long, but it's only been a couple weeks. And the fact, I mean, it's pretty luscious actually
If
there and
if
thick.
if I push really really hard, like if I bear down, I can just like force it out.
Really?
Will a
Can you grow a
mustache?
beard too?
I cannot grow a beard. No, it gets kind of patchy, like right around my cheek area. It's a good neck beard. I would really make it if I
Oh,
was Amish, but I'm not.
yeah, the ladies love the neck beard, you know.
If ladies loved a neck beard, I would not be single right now.
Well, you're doing better than I am because I cannot grow either. It's pretty sad. My dad's as well could not grow. He's 62 and he's never grown a beard or a mustache in his life either. So,
You really
um,
can't do a mustache, not even like a thin little, something just laying there on top of the lip.
I could, but boy, does it look just god awful, like really bad. As my dad says, it's cheesy. It just looks awful. I'm much better just clean shaven, which I mean
Okay.
makes me look also very young as well. But it's no, it's good. I like. I mean, it's nice. I can at least grow out, the hair on my head at least. At least that looks okay. So, but no facial hair, no facial hair. So long
That's
story short, I think it's impressive what you're doing, honestly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll say this about you. You're a lot more classy than I am. I'm just a redneck podcaster. You're a published author. You're a professional. So it probably is better that you can't grow a mustache like this.
I do appreciate that. I think that's the first time I've been called, professional and everything like that. So I appreciate that. No, I appreciate that a lot.
Very, very polished. So the reason we got you here is number one, I want to talk about your preview that's going to be coming out this week, what you're excited for with the girls section tournament on Friday and Saturday. But before we even get to that, I just want to kind of take a moment to reflect on like how we've gotten to this place, because I listened back to our episode from last year where we had the infamous ankle rider one call in, where he was demanding that there be 8 separate section tournaments for girls. His his wish was the state high school league's command, and here we are. We've
Mhm.
got 8 different section tournaments, and I don't know. It's just kind of cool to be in this place now.
It is, right? And I think we all realized it was coming after. I mean, we were both at the section 1 and 2 tournament last year. And I mean, there's 30 girls at 106,
Oh my
right? And
goodness.
they're
Yep.
close to 30 at a 112. And there was just too much. It was just too much, really. So I'm glad they figured it out. It's better late than never, right? So it's glad they figured it out. And the fact too that they're going to be at the Civic Center too, which I keep forgetting about that. They're both going to be at the Civic Center. And just a reminder too, I think maybe if you haven't told them already, just the section 1 and 2, it's going to be separate tournaments, obviously, but they're happening at the same time, Friday and Saturday at the Civic Center. So a
Right.
lot of good wrestling action, right? A lot of good wrestling action. It's exciting, and that obviously means when there's 8 sections, that means there's 16-person brackets at state, which is exciting too, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And MSHSL added that extra half day on Wednesday. To kind of give room for this and stuff. So I think it's a good thing. I think we're going to see a lot of good wrestling. As you know, too, it's girls wrestling. It's hard to believe that this is the 5th girls section tournament. I was talking about
Yep.
that today with my boss, and I was just like, holy cow. And I've been to all of them. So it's just like, oh my goodness. It's just time's a son of a gun, right? As you know.
It
So
sure
it's
is. Yep.
so it's just wild to see how far we've come. And yeah, the 8 sections, that's it's really exciting. It's good stuff for the sport. Overall, it's good stuff for the girls. And yeah, I think especially for Southeast Minnesota, I think it should be a good one, I would think, this Friday and Saturday.
Yep, I agree. Try to help my memory out here. Last year we were at Rochester Century for the combined sections. The year before
Yep.
that, Redwood Valley. Do you remember the
Yeah.
original two where those were?
Yeah, those were at Hastings.
Hastings. Okay. That's right.
Yep. Yeah. So that was that. Hastings did a pretty good job with that too.
Hmm.
I still can't get over they had that thing in Redwood Valley. I still cannot get over that. Gosh, that was something. So yeah, I guess I wasn't at that one. I just wrote that. I called up from home and stuff and did that from the office and everything. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Redwood Valley. That's right.
3 hours away. That was a heck of a trip.
God,
Yeah.
that how ridiculous was that, right? But yeah, well, good. I'm glad we got the Civic Center, right? And I bet Section Two probably. I mean, the Apple Valleys of the world and New Prague and all that stuff, they probably have a little bit of a gripe too, right? But the Civic
Y-
Center, I think once they realize the
Yeah.
Civic Center, I think that's going to be really special for them. And hopefully, I think it'll probably be a good crowd, a decent crowd, I would imagine, right? So it's gonna be a fun atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Being that the tournament's on Friday night, I don't think there's going to be many, if any, teams wrapping up their or their regular season Friday night. I think most of
Hmm.
that's going to happen on Thursday. The one thing that concerns me a little bit with Saturday is there's, like the HVL has their big end of the year JV tournaments. There's going to be a lot of
Hmm.
coaches and wrestlers and wrestling fans going to that. But I think Section 2 coming down, I think it'll be a good environment regardless in the Civic Center. So Friday, it looks like I'm looking at my schedule here. You correct me if you've heard otherwise, but it looks like 1 o'clock is like weigh-ins, 3 o'clock wrestling starts Friday,
Hmm.
and then Saturday it is maybe 9:30 semifinals start on Saturday. So a half day of wrestling Friday and then a full day on Saturday.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
correct. When I've heard, yeah, it's good stuff. It really is. So I think it's going to be, like you mentioned, hopefully Saturday if people come out, but it'll be kind of nice to, yeah, get it going in a little bit, especially early Saturday morning. Hopefully get everything going and yeah, hopefully it goes off without a hitch. I would imagine it would,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Yeah.
just yeah, looking forward to it.
Update on the mustache poll that I put on the YouTube page. 3 out of 5 voters are yes on the mustache trend. So
All right,
important,
all right.
important
That-
update on that front.
That's journalism right there. That's journalism.
That is hard hitting journalism right there. So speaking of which, your preview article, is it out yet? When is it coming out? Give us a sneak preview there.
Yeah, so I just finished it. I believe it's going to be out Thursday morning, I believe. And then it's going to be in Thursday's e-edition of the Rochester Post Bulletin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be, I just finished it up. It's 12 girls wrestlers to watch this weekend and stuff, and also kind of a couple other tidbits and stuff and notes. And yeah, and like I said, it's just making this list. I mean, it was honestly difficult to just pin it down to
Yeah.
12. I mean, so I'll have a list of also who to watch for too, but I didn't get to do a couple paragraphs on them. But man, there's just a lot of good talent this year, especially, and I think that's something we all talked about too. We've talked mentioned as well. Just the continued growth and you know evolution of the talent on
Sure.
the mat and stuff and the skills and now all these girls are wrestling in the off season, right? And it's really showing and they're hitting moves that they didn't they
Oh,
even
yeah.
think about 3 years ago, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
just it's really I think it's really good and like I said, man, pinning it down to 12 was actually kind of tough. If I could have done 20 honestly for girls to watch. There's a lot of them. It's I think if you haven't come out already for and seen girls wrestling, I think this is your chance, and I think you'll be pleasantly happy with the results. And I think it's going to be like I said, there's some interesting storylines where it'd be Simley, right, and stuff, or Apple Valley, but then you look at just our backyard. Chatfield has an opportunity to do something
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
special, I think. I mean, I could honestly see them getting 6 or 7 through, really. We'll see what happens there. Pine Island, they could have a chance. They could have 2, 3, 5 even, right? Potentially if things, shape up the way it could be. And, Bayern's got obviously a
Oh, yeah.
couple
Yeah.
girls too. So it's and Mayo, right?
I
So it's gonna be interesting to see.
I think people can't sleep on like an Owatonna.
Oh, Oitana,
Owatonna's
yes.
good. They're a little bit out of your guys' coverage area, but they've got
Yep.
good depth of talent. And then some of these up and comers from Cass and Manorville are
Yeah,
gonna be
yep.
fun to watch as well. What about this? I'm just gonna call it a log jam of high end talent between like 124 and 142 because you got
Yep.
Charlie Raymond, who's a 4-time state champ, who's going to be in there somewhere. You got Callie Graber, who's a multi-time
Yep.
state champ. Lauren Ellsmore's a state champ. Hattie Mathry's a state finalist. And then you would have had a state finalist, Maggie Olson, in there, but unfortunately, it sounds like her wrestling season is on hold until next year. But even Elle
Yep.
Eichhoff at 142, like that is just a logjam of talent.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then, obviously you got a couple of atomic kids in there too as well. Yeah, it's that is a long jam, right? I'm kind of curious to see how 130 shapes out. It looks like potentially, I mean, projection right now, I would think Graber and Ellsmer both stay at 130, I would think. So that could be kind of interesting. I mean, Graber is she's still something else, right?
Oh my goodness, class
Oh,
class of her own.
she truly is. She is something, right? And same with Raymond, right? Oh my
Mhm.
goodness, Charlie. It's always fun to get to watch her wrestle and stuff. You mentioned I keep forgetting. I mean, she's only what, a junior. She still has next year, right?
She timed
Raymond?
it up perfectly.
Oh
Ra-
my gosh.
Raymond, did you say Raymond or Graber?
Raymond.
Yeah, yeah. Charlie timed it up perfectly so that the first sanctioned girls' state tournament was when she was a seventh grader. So she's won it all 4 years so far.
It's that's nuts, right?
Yep.
So it's I mean, and she's also, like you said, also just in a class of her own as well. And I think that's really just fun. I think, like I said, it's they're not gonna be on the mat long, I don't think.
Yeah.
Friday
Oh
and
no.
Saturday, right? So yeah, people have to make sure they're getting their seats. But yeah, that I think that's gonna be those are the brackets to watch, I think, a little bit. And 124 to 142 especially. And like I said, I think too, I mean, you go up and down really. 100 pounds could be interesting. You mentioned, Cass Manderville, that O'Donohue, right? I mean,
Oh
Eliana,
yes,
I mean,
yes.
she's
Big
tough,
strides
right?
this year. Yep.
Yeah, she's huge. And you mentioned Eichhoff. Those two just O'Donoghue and Eichhoff just continue. I think those two are just, continue to get better and better. I think it's really fun to see them just evolve and take off with their game. And because O'Donoghue, she just won. What did she just win? She just won sixth through eighth or under eighth grade state title, didn't she, this past weekend? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah,
looking at that. I didn't put it in my notes, but she was at ninth grade state, and God, I
that's
think
what it
she,
was.
she was she was top three. I don't know exactly what it was, but she has had a heck of a year.
Yeah, she's really come on, and so hopefully, yeah, maybe she can break through. And I do like her breaking through her and the Pastak. Did I say that right? Pastica from Owatonna.
My guess is Pastica. I don't get
That's
out
got
to
to be
Owatonna
Pastica.
super often.
It's got to be Pastica. Those two, I think they've matched up twice, and they split this year. So that could be something. Then you throw in a Melody Ward at Chatfield, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be, someone's going to be on the outside looking in there potentially, right? If they all stay at 100 pound, which I would assume they would. Right. And that's another thing too. I think that's an interesting part too, just the strategy, of who's moving up, who's moving down, right? I think that's a kind of an interesting storyline. All that gets finalized tomorrow night. All this weigh-ins and weights and stuff gets finalized tomorrow night, and so all that has to be figured out. But I think that's always an interesting kind of wrinkle and pieces to the puzzle when we're talking about wrestling, especially girls wrestling. I feel like it's become a kind of a big thing when it's do I go up a weight? Do I go
Yep.
down a weight? And stuff. I think that's an interesting storyline too. So yeah, 100 pounds, man. I think that's a fun bracket, right? And yeah, like I mentioned, Sheffield has, they could really do something.
They could do something certainly special. I mean, I think you got to give Melody Ward a real chance down
Yep.
low. Emily Bova, Maisie
Boba's tough.
Maisie
Yeah.
Breeby's going to have a crack at it. Bryn Getzinger
Freebie's
is going to
tough
get a chat.
too. Yeah.
They all have a shot. You know what I mean?
They all have a
And
shot.
I've
Yep.
been in coaching rooms before where you're sitting there and you're like, if this goes right, we could get A, B, C, D. We could get eight. And you're hoping for the moon. You're hoping for eight, and you end up with six, and learn to be happy with that. But I think you go all the way up to like 155, 170 for Chatfield, and they all have a shot at it.
Yeah, Getzinger, right?
Yeah.
I think yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting. I was trying to look it up to see. what the record was for the most individuals by one team.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure that out. It looks like I know Apple Valley has had a couple of good years in a row. So, but I mean, I don't think they must have had last year. They had four Apple Valley. I think the previous year they may have had. I think they had what did I see 5 or 6. I think.
Yeah.
But like I said, Sheffield could. Gosh, wouldn't that be something, right? And I think it's like we've talked about Sheffield girls quite a bit in the past here, but I think they deserve it, right? I think all the recognition should be on them. I think that's one of the major storylines to see. Okay, if they show up,
Hmm.
Friday, Saturday, if, like I said, if things go their way a little bit, it could be a reason to party a little bit in Sheffield. I think, which
they've
which is
had
always a
pl-
good time.
they've had plenty of reasons to party over the last
They
couple of
have,
years. Uh,
they have, right? Yeah, it's fun. It's been yeah, that wrestling program, man. It's something special up, over there, right? And just you go down the volunteer assistants. There's obviously Matt Mosseth has done a great job, and Savannah Vold. I mean, it's good stuff coming.
it,
But look at the other programs too. Like you mentioned, Owatonna. I think that they really do have something going well there too as well. And Byron obviously has always something to say. Pine Island,
mm,
Rochester Mayo. There's just a lot of girls programs. That's good to see them just continuing to take those steps, right? That we were all like, okay, what is this going to look like in 5 years, right? And it's in a good spot, man. It really is. And like I said, I just can't believe it's been 5 years. That blows my mind.
5 years. It is
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Yeah, I think so. Chatfield, I think they're probably the favorite to get the most through. Beyond that, Owatonna and Pine Island are going to have a really good shot at it. You mentioned Mayo. I think maybe ZM is sneaky.
ZM
They
is
could get a
sneaky,
couple
dude.
through there, and then
I like
like,
that Candy Shield a lot.
oh
Gosh,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
tough. She is tough. I remember watching her at well, she had a couple matches I think against Pine Island in that duel.
just a
When
freshman and just a
just a
freshman too.
freshman, which I
Just
wouldn't have guessed. And Macy Schaefer looks really good
yeah.
too. She looks strong and looks kind of determined a little bit after last year. She was one of those, that just got stuck in. I think she was at 106 last year, and she just
Oof.
got
Those
stuck in the
brackets
meat
last
grinder.
year down low. Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
exactly. Like I said, there was 30 kids in that bracket at 106, and she took fourth. I mean, that's that's kind of nuts, right? So it's
It was more crowded than Kyle's goat barn and his sheep pen. It was ridiculous.
where is Kyle on this night, by
I
the way?
I have no idea. I There's always the potential we could
Unbelievable.
hear from Ankle Rider 1, but I believe Kyle's in a work meeting until 8:30, unfortunately. He wanted me to wait around and I was like, if I'm still streaming at 8:30, Ankle Rider is welcome to call in, but apparently he has a job that is not podcasting and not goat farming.
I guess what? How many kids does he have, Kyle?
He's
Well,
got
got to put
two.
bread on the
He's got
table.
two excuses. I mean kids.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So he's got to put bread on the table, right? So
That
it's that's fair.
we
That's fair. I know. It's is he gonna be at sections this weekend? Is he gonna be around, or is he gonna be around at his section tournaments at all?
I think he's going to be around at one of the JV get-togethers. That's kind of
Uh,
it. I don't want to speak for him, but that is like his favorite level of wrestling. I mean, I enjoy JV wrestling. I think the kids are, they're comedians at that age. The sport's a little bit looser, but he
it is
really
fun.
he really enjoys JV wrestling. So I'm thinking that's where he's going to be.
Well, you guys truly live up to the name, don't you? JV takes, right? So it's well, that's good. That's good. No, I think the junior varsity. I think that's good stuff, right? And it's just fun too. I mean, to see all the kids wrestling, man. I feel like the sport's just in such a good, healthy spot. And go to any JV meets or anything really, that involves wrestling, and you'll see it, right?
That's right.
I know there's still some programs right here and there, but look at the ones that have done something special and built this thing, right? You go around, heck, Century. I mean, right? I mean, there's a bunch of programs. Pine Island has rediscovered itself a little bit,
Oh
and
yeah,
like I said, so it's really good. The wrestling's in a great spot, it feels like, and I think the girls are just the girls have helped with that. They have, right? And who would have, the goal was
fresh
eventually,
energy to the sport.
yep, exactly, right, exactly, kind of, and you gotta give the coaches credit for taking that on too a little bit, right? That's 10 extra kids, 10 extra fresh faces and stuff
Oh
that are
yeah,
new to the sport. That's, make sure they get matches, this and that, right? And make sure they get what they need, the coaching and stuff. So credit to the coaches, right? As well. I think that's important too. And, yeah, I think this weekend will really, really shine it. We've been waiting for this thing to be at the Civic Center for a while. And now we have it, right? So it's a lot of fun. And I think, it's just good that they have this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it.
Ready or not, here it comes. It's postseason time. We're going to find out who's in shape, who's ready to go, and who kind of fell behind a little bit this year. So, Alex, appreciate you as always. People can check out your work at the Post Bulletin, subscribe online, get it delivered to your house or whatever, follow you on Twitter, all of the usual spots to find your glorious wrestling content.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate you a lot, man, and I really do, and always having me on. And I actually had, I told people last time I was on, I was like, hey, if you ever have any feature ideas or story ideas, email me, and people emailed me.
Hey,
So I was
let's
like,
go.
wow, yeah. So I was like, let's go is right. So it's yeah, so that was great. So I really do appreciate everything that the wrestling community and stuff. I love it. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, and too, I mean, I know we talked about it last time too, but our sports staff was voted the best sports staff in the state of Minnesota. So it's been really cool just to see. I've been blown away by how many messages we've all gotten and stuff, and it really means a lot. It does. We love our job and we love what we do. So it's really great, and we did really it means a lot that you guys trust us to tell your stories too. So we'll
Yeah.
keep it up, and yeah, look, like I said, just Friday should be fun. You gonna be there Friday too?
I'll be there
Pacific?
Friday, and Culver's is
Okay.
on me Friday night, Alex, okay?
Awesome. Hey, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go. I like that a
Friday,
lot. I like
Saturday,
that.
we'll talk. Culver's is on JV Takes.
All right, man. Hey, well, I appreciate that, sir.
All right, thanks. We'll talk soon, bud.
Talk soon. See you,
Yep.
man.
There he is. One of the best in the business. That guy knows wrestling. All right. So I guess this would be the part where I hop into the hardcore section preview. Did this last year with the boys individual portion, and I thought it went pretty well. It kind of gave people an idea of who's going to be where at what weight classes, which ones might be more open, which ones are going to have multiple hard-hitting wrestlers there. So we'll do it. We'll start down low. We'll go 107, 114, 121. We'll go all the way through here if I can figure out how to share my screen. And I should stand corrected. Not 107, not 114. We'll start at 100 with the girls' weights. All right. Shrinking my face. Pulling up. I'm going to set that over there for now. I'm going to pull up this. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe you guys want me to zoom in just a touch. Do I have anything in there? Maybe I can delete this. And then I can zoom in a touch more here. 150%, maybe? No, that's a little bit much. Why don't we try 135%? Yeah, that's good radio. Okay. All right, here we go. I guess we'll start right away at 100. Kayla Pastica, we mentioned it from Owatonna. I think she's one of the top 3 wrestlers in there. Melody Ward of Chatfield, probably one of the top 3 as well. Eliana O'Donohue of Cass Manorville, the 8th grader that Alex and I mentioned. I would expect to see her at 100 pounds. And then I kind of see this as like a top 3, top 4 type of tier maybe. We've got Elsa Kep also from Rochester Mayo, who's put together a pretty darn solid junior year. So I'm curious here because it seems like Chatfield's schedule, they end up out of the area quite a bit. Like they had some girls who were wrestling in Pine Island, I think, during the big tournament, but not all of them. They have, of course, the state duels way up at STMA. So they go out of the area to wrestle quite a bit. I don't know if like a Melody Ward has met up with a Kayla Pastica or an Eliana O'Donohue, which might make this weight a little bit of a mystery, but I really like what Pastica's done this year. I like what Ward has done this year. I see this as a really strong top 4, and then you've got some other good younger scrappers in here. Kenzie Hill has won some matches this year for ZM. Juniper Kabat, which is just a phenomenal name. One of the Kabat sisters, I believe, for La Crescent's had a solid year. She's a youngster. And then Ava Butson of St. Charles, also going to be looking for a spot on the podium. That is how I see 100 pounds. We'll hop down here to 106, where I think Emily Bova, and I should have said this before we started at 100 pounds, but obviously there's shifting that can go on. seating meeting, I believe, is Thursday night. I don't know when weights need to be declared by, but keep in mind that all of this is tentative. Nothing here is guaranteed. I don't have any insider info. I didn't ask for any insider info. I don't want any insider info. This is me looking at results, doing my best to piece together where wrestlers could be. So keep in mind, there could be shifting, and we'll touch on that as we go throughout. But with that in mind, I think Emily Bova is probably the top seed at 106 pounds. Beyond her, I think you see this note right here in column number G, column letter G, that would be. I think the passenger seat's wide open. I think any of these wrestlers could find a way into the number 2 spot, or even potentially somebody could come up from 100 pounds to try and wrestle 106 and find their way into a section final match. But other wrestlers that are going to be fighting for action at 106, Lucinda Ornelas of Owatonna. She's a junior. Peyton Gifford of Dovriota, sophomore, also a sophomore. Kembia Nelson of KM. And Payson Spelt of LARP could potentially be in there as well. So I think that's one where there's a spot open in the section finals for somebody. And then this note here, this breaks my heart here that we had Grand Meadow and Troyton move over to Section 2. Of course, they're still going to be in the same building with us, but they're not going to be in the Section 1 versus the world group. I was going to say cult. It's not a cult. Section 1 versus the world it's a family, and we'll still have them in the building, but I would love to have some of these Grand Meadow Hammers and then Adriana Coons and Troyton still in Section 1, but we'll maybe talk to the State High School League about getting them back into the section, because last time we wanted something from the State High School League, Ankle Rider called in and asked for 8 section tournaments, so maybe we'll just have Ankle Rider ask for another favor again from the State High School League. He seems to be fairly well connected up there. So we move on from 106 to 112. I think the top 2 here are probably Macy Schaefer and Maisie Preby. Schaefer down at 112 now. She had a tough bracket last year, but I want to say she was a state entrant, a state place winner either 2 or 3 years ago. Maisie Preby's put together a really, really good year. In my eyes, those are the 2 best wrestlers I've seen around this weight or at 112 this year. Beyond that, I think Aurora Cabot of La Crescent, we mentioned the Cabot sisters. I believe they could do some damage. Addie Poncelet has won some matches this year for Pine Island. A little bit of a wild card there. And then Cameron Berge, I would call anyone who's like a 7th, 8th, 9th grader, younger wrestlers like that, newer to the sport, usually wild card. So I don't know. Addie Poncelet could do some damage. Cameron Berge could do some damage as well at 112, but I think 2 wrestlers kind of standing out there for me. At 118 pounds, I think Alina Johnson of Northfield is probably the clear number 1. She once again last year ran into a really tough weight class down low when Section 1 and 2 were combined. Beyond her, throw your name in the hat, because there's about 7, 8, 9, 6, 7. Get that one in there for my brother. But there's a bunch of wrestlers here who are talented that could make a run, that could find their way into a section final, find their way into a true second. Caroline Sems, Bryn Getzinger of Chatfield, Madison Skifton of Lake City, Bryn Wolford, Olivia Henneman of Casson Manorville, Wolford's from St. Charles. A lot of wrestlers that are young. Like, look at this. Aaliyah Glendy, Owatonna, 9th grader. Kennedy Shields, ZM, 9th grader. Alex mentioned her. Bryn Getzinger is an 8th grader. So a lot of youth here. Madison Skifton is kind of the one that stands out. She's got probably 4 years of wrestling experience. See if that experience benefits her at the section tournament. But all of these wrestlers, or a lot of these wrestlers, have met up and had very close competitive matches this year. So that's how I see 118 pounds. A clear favorite, but really 7, 8, 9 wrestlers with a chance to do something special. Fun weight class. Now, with that in mind, 124, we have a very, very clear favorite here. Charlie Raymond, a 4-time state entrant. I mean, it doesn't get much better than her, right? She she's got 4 state titles, just a junior, trying to become the first ever 6-timer, I believe. Ranked number 1 in state. She already beat the number 2 ranked wrestler this year, 12-2 at a tournament earlier in the year. And then beyond her, Bryn Horseman, Madeline Grabow, Violet Attore of Mayo, Caitlin Lamb of La Crescent. All have a good shot to place high on the podium. I think Bryn Horseman probably, with what she's done this year, has elevated herself to that number 2 spot. But, beyond that, Grabow, Attore, they've all got a fighter's chance. And then I think Abby Wingard of Dover Yoda and Tolly Meyer of Lake City, good chances to find their way on the podium as well. So I have Callie Graber listed as the top dog here at 130 pounds. Very curious for me, though, because she's been wrestling for the boys at 127. I have no idea if 124 is an option for her. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But I know what I've seen from, the Graber camp, or to talk like we're NFL insiders, the Graber circle, it seems like they've been more willing to move around than a lot of other wrestlers. They were up at 142 for the Pine Island Girls Tournament. They beat Emma Antony. Callie beat Emma Antony up there, who is a returning state champ. So, they can and will move around. And I'm curious where Callie Graber will end up at on Friday and Saturday. So we'll see. I don't know if 124 is an option for her. If it is, I bet that would be a really fun match to see her and Charlie Raymond wrestle again. They met this offseason, and Callie had a pretty good showing in that one, but yeah, we'll see. With that in mind, I think this is something that happens pretty frequently. Anytime you have a clear number 1 wrestler like Callie Graber, you're curious who else is going to kind of fill in beyond them. I remember in my day, it was Brady Berge, right? Brady Berge's the clear number 1 at 152 or whatever it was, and guys would kind of shift around. They feel like they'd have a better chance to win a state title at 160 or 145 or something, so it maybe gets a little bit lighter when you're that good of a wrestler above everybody else. It gets a little bit lighter beyond you. So here at 130, with that in mind, I think there's still a good amount of talent. You've got Emma Karish, Rochester Mayo, Kinley Manahan of Chatfield. Pine Island's going to have somebody here. I don't know here because I think they've got a few different options here, and they double weigh during the team stuff. But Mallory Mulkey, who I accidentally spelled her name as Malroy. Mallory Mulkey, an option there. And then Peyton Puppy for ZM, youngster, freshman. I don't know, we could see. So, yeah, that's 130 pounds. And again, the theme continues here. So 3 consecutive state champs headlining weights here, 124, 130, 136. Lauren Elsmore is likely not a top seed this year at 136. If it is 136, she ends up at. I don't know. Alex mentioned her for 130. She might be certified at 130. I do not know, to be honest. And like I said, I do not want any insider information. So Hattie Mathery has a win over Lauren Elsmore this year in the Pine Island Girls Tournament Finals. So if she is at 136, Hattie Mathery is likely the number 1 seed, regardless of where she ends up at. And Hattie's just taken so many leaps over the last couple of years. I remember when she started, it was all about, strength, athleticism, explosiveness, just being a great athlete. But she's become a very well-rounded wrestler, and you don't beat somebody like Lauren Elsmore without being well-rounded. So Hattie's, I think she's got a real chance to get it done at state this year. And if Lauren and Hattie end up at the same weight again this weekend, that's going to be one you got to circle. Watch that final for sure. So beyond that, Michaela Sell of Owatonna, she's a state-ranked wrestler. She was a state entrant last year. Greta Gundry of Simley is state-ranked as well. I have not seen her. I have not watched much Simley this year, but she's wrestled both 136 and 142. So again, a situation where I don't know where Greta Gundry would end up, but I have such a hard time thinking that all 4 of these state-ranked wrestlers, these 4 who are probably 4 of the top 10 in the state, will all end up together. beyond because of it just somebody's got to go is kind of my philosophy on that, and I'm sure the coaches will kind of think of that the same way. It just gets tough when you have so many high end wrestlers like that at the same weight class. And you see my note that I've got here in the light shade of red. Yes, no Maggie Olson likely this postseason, kind of a bummer, but she was doing some pretty cool stuff this year. I was told playing hockey and wrestling, and mighty ambitious. Olsen family, they like to go, they like to do, they like to make stuff happen. And Mike's having a good year up at North Dakota State. Beyond that top four at 136, you've got Zoe Bly of La Crescent. I think she's got a good shot to get on the podium. Kate Vermillion of St. Charles as well has had a good sophomore year. At 142, I think there's an opportunity here. Somebody could end up at 142 that's down at 130 or 136. Elle Eichhoff has put together a really great year, and she has just improved so quickly in the last couple years with starting the sport later in her career. But she was a state place winner last year. I think she's a clear number one seed wherever she ends up at. I've got her at 142 here with Giada Barnes of Rochester Mayo, Lily Molitor of Stewartville, and Opal Kiefer of Dover Yoda. Again, a little bit thin here at 142. So some of these wrestlers who've hung around 500 this year, they've improved over the course of the year. They're going to have a good shot to get on the podium, and maybe a passenger seat to state open up there at 142. And I've got Aaliyah Fisher of Owatonna here at 148, but I did get a text message from a listener that said she could potentially be at 142. So I don't know if she's certified at 142 or not. I've got Aaliyah Fisher at 148, but again, I think she's one of those top 3, top 5 type wrestlers in the state at her weight. I think she's a clear number one seed. And again, another opportunity, I think, for somebody to get a trip to state here. A couple names that I found in my wrestling research: Mackenzie Pines of Stewartville, Brenna Nagan of Byron, Chloe Benedict of Lake City. Those are both freshmen that were really not on my radar before this year, but it looks like Chloe and Brenna both put together good years, and they'll have an opportunity to do something cool this weekend. At 155, again, kind of the same story here. It seems like there's a top wrestler, Eve Getzinger, senior from Chatfield, who's maybe the leader in the clubhouse, the favorite. If it is 155, she ends up wrestling. Beyond that, Nora Astorino of Century, Kelly Pines of Stewartville, Brooke Golish of Byron, Ava Monroe of Dover Yoda, Ella Weist, Lake City could end up there. I think this is a weight that is once again wide open beyond the top wrestler, but who knows? You put together a good tournament, you throw in a half Nelson at the right moment, you slap on a crossface cradle, that could change things. Nobody is unbeatable at the Civic Center. I got a note here. These ones were kind of curious to me. I was going back through and I was trying to figure out how many returning state entrants for Section 1 have a shot to make it back to the state tournament this year. And Chelsea Rodriguez and Taya Vicker for Rochester Mayo, they were both state entrants last year. Have not seen action from them this year. If they were in here, you bet your butt they would be hunting for a trip to the state tournament, but might not be an option this year. At 170, Katie Augenstein, man, she was a super fun story last year at the section tournament. Went on a great run at the right time of year, got a trip to state. Now she's trying to get back her senior year, but a lot of good competition here. Some youngsters like Kendall Nolte of Chatfield. She's wrestled 155, 170 for Chatfield this year, played a big role for the team there where Chatfield kind of gets a little bit thinner towards the upper weights. Morgan Mannion of Stewartville and Riel Parker of Lake City, a junior and a freshman. And according to my wrestling research, sounds like they both got a win against Augenstein earlier in the year. So I don't know. Maybe this weight's wide open. Maybe it's anybody's race. Maybe 170 is going to be one of those that You draw the names out of the hat on any given on this given day. It might be a 5 and a 6 seed. On that day, it might be a 2 and a 3 seed. You never know. And then, so this is where it starts to get fairly thin here. A lot of good opportunities for wrestlers who've stuck it out, put in the work here at 190 and 235. Olivia Martinez has put together a year. She has racked up a ton of wins. Just a freshman. I think a two-time state entrant. I know she was at state last year for sure, but I think she's one of the best in the state in the upper weights, and just as a freshman as well. She's going to be a clear favorite at 190. Beyond that, I think Bobby Wanuk, see if I pronounce that one rightly, Bobby Wanuk of LARP has a good chance to make it to the state tournament, and then at 235, Maya Ebling of Pine Island is kind of the favorite in my books, and Peyton Welsh of Dover Iota also a solid chance to get to the state tournament. But like we said, this time of year, anyone's game. We don't know who's going to end up at what weight class. We don't know who's going to slap on a crossface cradle, hit a whip over at the right moment. These are the best times of year, and for good reason. So that's what I've got. I'm sure I missed wrestlers. If I missed wrestlers, you're welcome. You're welcome to throw those in the comments. I did the best I could to put together somewhat of a comprehensive list here. Listener Big Play says, can you repeat the stuff you said about all of the things? I would be happy to do so. I just have to go back and replay this episode. But yeah, I think there's a lot of clear favorites, in the middle weights, all the way down to maybe 124, 130. I think there's a lot of clear favorites, but opportunities to still find your way into the section finals. I think down low, there's a lot more depth, and it'll be a fun days of wrestling on Friday and Saturday. All right. Anything else I wanted to mention? Logistics. Changes. No, I think we hit on just about most of it. Here's a fun question here from a listener. We kind of already touched on this one. Which team will send the most state entrants? And he said Chatfield's probably got the best chance. Beyond that, Pine Island and Owatonna, I would say. Yeah, maybe even Northfield would be a sneaky pick. They've got two that aren't quite guarantees, but that type of wrestler. I'm going to say Chatfield sends the most to state. Another question here. Who is the best wrestler in the section at this point? Oh, man, that's tough. That's challenging to go anywhere other than the direction of Callie Graber. Normally when you have a four-time state entrant like Charlie Raymond, you have, a two-time state finalist, maybe a three-time state finalist, but a state champ in Lauren Elsmore. Normally you would say Charlie Raymond or Lauren Elsmore, maybe even throw in Hattie Mathry's name, but I think what Callie Graber has done both in season, wrestling for the boys, wrestling for the girls, beating one of the best girls in the state, and then also some really impressive off-season wins, like I mentioned. I think it's hard to go anywhere other than the direction of Callie Graber. If Ella Pagel was still in the section for Northfield, maybe you could make a case for Ella Pagel, but she graduated last year, so I think it's got to be Callie Graber. This question was submitted, I think, before we went into our hardcore preview, but where could movement happen? Where could movement happen? Main points that I kind of pointed out already, I'll repeat myself here, but I think 100 to 106 could potentially be a place where movement happens. 124 to 130, although that's kind of risky because you don't know exactly where Callie Graber's going to end up, but I think 124 to 130 could be a spot for some movement. I don't think anybody wants to move up to 136. That's just my guess. But I think potentially 136 to 142 would be a spot for movement. Yeah. All right, good questions, guys. Thank you for those questions. Okay. Mustache trends. This will be the final note here. 55% of JV Takes voters say yes to the mustache trend. 45% say no. I know 45% of you guys are getting blocked for having the wrong opinion. Hey, thanks for joining us, guys. This was fun. A good, 55 minutes or an hour here. Thank you to Alex Vanden Hooten, of course, for joining us here. Go follow his work. Follow him on Twitter. You can also subscribe to the JV Takes Facebook page. You can subscribe to our YouTube page. You can follow us on Twitter. You can block us as well if you don't like us. You can block us on Instagram. You can block us wherever you want. Thank you to our sponsors, Lodemeier's Incorporated of Goodhue, your local grain and equipment dealer. Thank you to Culver's of Rochester for bringing us the Culver's Cam. Thank you to Heman Tree Service for doing the best work in the area when it comes to your lumber, your branches, your trees. Thank you to Gorilla Wrestling Club for providing training opportunities for all of the wrestlers in our area. And thank you to our friends at The Clash for providing arguably the best non-state tournament, wrestling tournament of the entire year. All right. That'll do it, folks. You guys have a fantastic evening. Oh, hey, one more thing I want to sneak in. I'm going to try tomorrow night to get back on the YouTube page. I don't know when I'll have this up, but I would like to do what I'm going to call a Civic Center showdown. It is JV Takes Trivia Battle of the Listeners. What we're looking for is 3, maybe 4, 5's probably stretching it, but 3 of the brightest listeners that are willing to hop on with me and battle it out to find out who has the greatest depth of Section 1 wrestling knowledge. So if you would like to nominate yourself as a listener, or you would like to nominate other listeners, you can send an email to jvtakes1@gmail.com. Like I said, I want to do that tomorrow. If we have to push it back to next week, so be it. I'd like to do that tomorrow night, and it'll just basically be, I don't know, maybe take 20, 30 minutes, do a few cycles of trivia that I've put together, talk some wrestling history, award some points, and maybe, the brightest listener of them all gets Culver's and some JV Takes apparel. So, jvtakes1@gmail.com. All you got to say is, hey, interested in your Civic Center showdown, interested in JV Takes trivia, and yeah, we'll take it from there, get the conversations going. So, hey, have a great evening.